it seems that we are live. Good afternoon, good morning, good almost night for our colleagues in India and for other people around the world, whatever time they are. Hello, Victor.
Hello,
How are you
hello
today?
everyone. Glad to see again with a new chapter, new
Well,
deal.
today we are focusing on the Liquid Galaxy community, where you are lovely mentor next to Alfredo in the Flutter and Dart questions. And your presentation today is going to be a little bit more special, okay? Because secure mobile application development. What's that?
Yeah, that means let's stop to create unsecure mobile apps because it every time is easier creating apps. The frameworks, every new versions are simpler, but the different point of view is okay. But we have to talk about the secure mobile because now it is easier hack apps or create unsecure mobile apps where that we can create leaks of information and well maybe not in the I don't know how hard is out of the European Union, but inside of the European Union we will see we could have penalties if we don't follow a strict and secure mobile application
This year is
development.
going to be hard because we're going to talk today about security, but Mentor Josh is pushing a lot this year on the usability and user interface, where you are also a master. So this year our contributors are having, I would say, I'm not going to say hard year, but I will say that they are learning a lot. I don't remember, Victor, but maybe this is for 20 streaming this year in 1.5 months. 20.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. All the contributors are working hard on doing their task 3 presentations, and also the community is having the mentors and so on. So amazing. So I'm going to go out of the stage. I'm going to leave the stage for you and take your time. And after this, we will allow our contributors to make questions through YouTube, guys, through YouTube. Okay. So the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, hello everyone. If you don't know me, it's me, Victor. I am involved in completely different stands and chapters that I lovely to be here. Just because most of the apps that we develop in Liquid Galaxy are created with Flutter technology, I thought it could be convenient to present just 3 of them that I am leading PDF Combiner to manage merging PDFs or split or get the images from PDFs or create PDFs for other images, or the platform detail to detect if you are in dark mode or if you are in live, or you can detect which kind of device are you. For example, you can group them if you are in a mobile because you want to create a flow for Android and iOS, things like that. It is useful. And file magic number, this is my last package that I create this last week to read or detect the type of file types using magic numbers instead of Mimitype. All right, so let's talk about the security, and we cannot talk about security without talk about OWASP. OWASP is an organization, is completely open for universal, or I mean around the world, for security projects, and you can read publicly. They present different releases for the risks in different extents. For example, for mobile, This is the top 10 mobile risks for 2024. You can scan the QR code and you will see the official web page. But the point is you have this M1 from M1 to M10. And you can see the proper credential usage, inadequate supply chain security, and you can see what is it is. We will go across all of them in one or another way. But it is interesting to know the comparison between 2016 from 2016 to 2024, because we will see how actually improper credential usage is something new and is the top one. And you can see inadequate supply chain security, insecure authentication or authorization. That was M6. It was top 6 in 9 years ago. But now we have these as top 3. Again, a new insufficient input-output validation. That makes sense because now the current apps has different ways for inputs. For example, now we are talking about AI. We are talking about new different ways to interact with the users. That's great, but on the other hand, we need to create layers for validation and security. Insecure communications, privacy controls, and etc. This is something that we have to keep in mind when we are talking about this topic. Is in this release, they don't talk about data leaks or hard-coded secrets. This is something that Liquid Galaxy, we have been reminding every year since, I don't remember, because I think in my first year, Liquid Galaxy was talking about this concern. So this is something that we have to keep this in mind. So, all right, after reading this article, now we are hackers, right? I promised you I was going to be making jokes, and I hope to enjoy this instead to discuss about this topic in a completely technical way. So again, our index, we will talk about these topics from topic 1 to topic 9. So let's start with the first one, HTTPS versus HTTP. Differences, advantages, of using the security layer. All right. What is, if we cannot talk about the differences without talk about OSI model, that means HTTP is a secure way, is a not secure way. HTTP is just text over the network, versus HTTPS. It is a security layer over HTTP. They use a different server, they use a different port, they use a different certificates, because actually HTTP, there is no security features, but HTTPS use a certificate, SSL, with public key encryption. All right. But okay, Victor, I know HTTPS is secure, but how the insecure is HTTP? How HTTP is the insecure? Okay. In my point of view, it must be something like this. As you can see, HTTP looks like something like that. But if we want to see exactly how somebody can hack this, let me show you this video. In this video, somebody is connecting the laptop, starting to connect the phone in the same network that the laptop, and the laptop will be reading the traffic of the network. This is named Sniffer. A Sniffer is a tool that you can use to detect packages on the network that you can collect, read, and manage properly after a while. And what's the point here? The point is the user using HTTP will open an insecure web page, and he will be inserting user and password. This is unsecure login. He's adding the username. All right. Now he's using the password. Don't forget AZXC. All right, and the password 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm not wrong. Okay, from 1 to 9. Okay, he will be sign in. Okay, he will press the button. All right. Don't care if you want to save it or not, because the point is, all right, the login and password is wrong. That's not the matter. The matter is, the concerning is, now you can go to the into the laptop. You can read the traffic. All right. Okay, let's see. This is Wireshark. This is an app to sniffer traffic in the network. Okay, now he will filter by method post in the network, and he can see the IP destination, the protocol HTTP, and he can open, because it is plain, it's text plain. He can read the stream, and he can see completely the message sent in the network. Okay, hold on. We can read user agent, like the device, the operative system. I mean, the metadata related, the origin. All right. This is the, all right, the host, the where is the post method called. But the point, user login, you can see it AZXC ampersand user password. You can read completely a clear way the token, the user token, the username, and the user password. That's the point. HTTP is completely unsecure. And also, we have to keep in mind, sometimes when we are developing, we think to create support HTTP and HTTPS is a secure relay, because, well, I mean, to be adapted for different kind of situations, but it is not, because sometimes hackers can disallow you HTTPS, so your app will try to deliver the message, and this is something that you have to avoid, because it will be, again, you could be in an insecure environment. All right, let's talk about self-signed certificates, risk, and best practice. What is the point about this topic? The point is, actually, it's not really, nowadays, not really useful, or is something that you can see HTTP webs, because actually web browsers blocks this kind of network. So actually it's not an issue that you can see frequently. But the point is, when sometimes you don't use the right certificates, because what's the point here? This is the self-signed HTTPS certificate. This is something that best fit about this concerning, because when you when we are self-signing our certificates, that means that you are saying, I am a trustworthy. But I mean, this is not secure, because maybe I don't know you. Maybe I don't know how secure you are, or where are your intentions. So The point here is when you want to sign certificates, we have to we have to think about which kind of ways we have if we want to use HTTPS certificates. Because self-signed HTTPS certificates are not valid by a trusted because you are not a trusted CA. Could be, but probably we are not, any of us. I mean, this could be you could be involved in man-in-the-middle attacks. Self-signed certificates do not include revoke mechanism. You could have problems with compatibility and trust, manual maintenance and distribution. So we have a lot of insecure ways that we shouldn't use self-signed certificates. And also the web browsers will present an error similar like this because automatically self-signed certificates are not safe or secure and automatically will be like on a web not secure. Okay, you have HTTPS certificate, but this place is not secure. You will see something like this. Okay, but what is the point? Actually, you can be a public or a private CA. If you are not in a big organization, you will be in a. You will have to use a public certification, but maybe you start to work for a big company, let's say X, actually X is a company, so we have to use another different word. Let's say a company. If you start to work in a company, you maybe they are certificate authorization, but it is private. So that means you only inside of the organization and using private. I mean, they have they use policies inside of the companies to enroll devices, because when you enroll the device, you will include the root certificates to trust all of those certificate authorities. That means you will you could download those certificates and trust to them automatically. So that means your web browsers and tools will accept those certificates. But if you are using or you are a public certificate authority, you don't have to do those steps because they will be easier. All right. So that's the point. In any case, using a public CA, you will connect directly to the server of the CA. You request a new certificate, and automatically, though like the web browsers have a list of certificate authorities. But if you are a private, you will not automatically will trust of them. You have to go to the operative system and trust manually, or you enroll your devices. And inside of the big companies, this is part of the enrollment part of the devices. All right, let's talk about sensitive information in query params. This is a harmless portal. It looks like great, like with admin. Okay, maybe we can see this is a not secure way, but things like this is local, or this is in a internal network. So this is not the point of this. The point is, what do you see growing there? Well, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of things bad because we are sending private information in the query param of the request. So this is something really, really, really bad. because in terms of privacy, we are not being private. Why not? Well, because as you can see, we can, the token is in the URL, the account ID exactly the same with the account token. So that means it will be stored in the history browser, and that's really bad. Why it is really bad? Because we are, we have different articles inside of the European Union that we have to adequate security measures. This is the Article 32 in the GDPR. The practical, that means we are owners, or we must we need to adequate ways for this to avoid leaks, vulnerabilities, or private information for the users. The second rules that we are breaking, accidental filtering of person data, because we are filtering, because we cannot trust on the web browser, because maybe the person behind of this is using a public computer, and actually his token will be a life since I don't know how many times is the token will be expired. So we have to keep this in mind before to create these kind of tools. Don't forget, we need to guarantee the confidentiality and the integrity, because we must in a confidential way the data of the users. But we have a third broken rule. This third broken rule is the Article 25, privacy by design by default, because this is a lack of control over access and revocation. The capacity and the guarantees of the confidentiality, integrity, disponibility. This is something that we have to guarantee for the users. And this is us trying to explain to the GDPR what the hell is going on. So, so we need to talk about the sensitive information in query params. We need to explore exposure and mitigation. This is the anatomy. We can, of course, we have to talk about protocol, host, and paths, but in the query streams, we cannot put sensitive information because we have a correct place to do this. I mean, dude, where are my headers? Because we don't have to put everything inside of the query param, because we have better place to do this. For example, we can fix the problem with the right headers, because actually HTTP protocol define a standard header where you can put the authorization, and automatically the layer of the browsers, most of them will have this under control, and it will be hidden and protected in a correct way if we use a fork by a fork, and we can use a T-SOAP for a T-SOAP. All right, so now we have to talk about secrets. Secrets in the repository. Okay, what do you think about this? Okay, actually, we don't have to talk or discuss about this in private repositories, because Liquid Galaxy, we are in a Liquid Galaxy community. That means we are in a public open source repository. So this is not for us, but this affect to us because maybe you don't know this, and maybe after seeing this, you think, all right, Victor, dear, I put secrets inside of the repository. For example, my API keys, or for example, sensitive keys that they are not allowed to be public because everyone could have access and request, make requests like if they were me, but they are not allowed. So what the hell can do? Okay, I'm gonna do a commit, remove it, removing those lines, and those problems will be done. No, they are not, because in the history of the commits, the API key will be reading the history. You cannot commit a removing of those API keys because, as I was saying, they will be in the history of the commit. So you have to move back to. You have to do a rollback, going back to get that information and out of the repository. So in order that you can remove those commits from the repository. That's the way that you can delete your secrets if you publish them in some moment. All right, this is a Git Guardian. So you can read a lot of best practices for managing API keys and other credentials. This is something that you can stop to read after this event. And now we have to talk about rooted and jailbroken devices. Well, what is exactly in a sandbox? Okay, our apps run inside of a sandbox. So that means in your app, you will be able to access to read folders only inside of your sandbox. So that looks like this is a secure place. You will think, like, you could think, okay, I'm gonna save information here because this is a great place, but it is, but you cannot think this is a secure place because it is not. It's true when we are talking like inside of your sandbox, there is no way as a developer, you cannot access to other sandboxes from other apps. It's true, but you have to keep in mind as a hacker, maybe you detect a leak or you jailbreak the device or infect your victim, all right? But the point is, if you put insecure or weak the data inside of our sandboxes, we will see that others could read them for us and probably make more dangerous things. And what is the jailbreak and rooted devices? Okay, this is like super users. We can read every sandbox. We can access every place of the device, and this is something that we have to keep in mind. This is something possible, and we could think having these kind of things. Our sandboxes are not as secure as expected. So what we can do if we want to persistent storage inside? We can think, we can add folders there. We can add information inside. It is true. But if you want to storage sensitive information, you cannot use the sandbox, at least in a simpler way. That's the point. How can I store in secure alternatives, because maybe you think serif preference on Android. Serif preference means this is a key value file using XML. So you can read how difficult is read this. It's like a text plane. You can open it and automatically will see everything. So Android is so bad, right? They explode and they are hard to use. So the time to load, because, well, if you think this is happening because Android is not secure, this is how iOS devices are in because the name is different, plist, but it's exactly the same because it's XML inside. So user defaults is exactly that we saw before with serif preferences. So what alternative we have? All right. Well, we have to keep in mind when we are talking about user defaults or serif preference, we have to think like, okay, we want to storage not sensitive information, and they cannot make bigger. Make bigger means always the same number of information has to be storage. Because if you need a storage a list, or if you need to storage objects, this is not for you. Or if you want to storage sensitive information. All right, I know serif preference is migrated. There is actually Jetpack data storage. Jetpack data store is a most advanced storage way, but again, is not exactly what you are looking for. And the point is, okay, we have iOS alternative, we have keychain, we can use to storage password, to storage cryptographic keys, to storage certificates. Yes, it's true, but again, we have another most experiences ways to store sensitive information, because we have secure enclave and hardware packet storage. And this is the most advanced way that we have to storage information inside of devices. Because actually that is how it works. An app that want to, for example, access to certificates, automatically with access to KStore to generate graphing key pair, the graphing key pair will be the app will get the public key from this KStore. Again, request the certification chain, automatically will have from KStore the certificate, and the app, again, now with the public key and the certificate, will have the request for the server with the public key certificate. After that, the server can check the certificate and grab a key blob, and this graph key entry could be, again, blob, alias, or whatever, can be storage in the KStore. So this is how it works, but okay, how can be this possible in an Android devices? Okay, all right, because Android has this operating system called Trusty. Not a lot of people knows Android has Trusty. Trusty is like a way. It is implemented in different ways depending of the device and the companies that it was made, because because Trusty can be simulated if there is no hardware in the device, and can be virtualized, or can be physically created in the most expensive devices. And iOS has something something similar, but on its way. Is iOS Secure Enclave, and this is a completely hardware to storage and access to secure information. And how can I access to this secure information? Because you have a NAND flash storage, and there is automatically a secure enclave processor with a chip completely with an engine memory protection. And the most interesting thing is you don't have the value of something stored in this secure enclave is not, you don't have the values of them. You will have the pointer of memory where is the value. So if somebody wants to make a bump of memory to read the memory, stop, like virtualizing or whatever, reading the values of them, it will be much more harder to intercept the value of something stored in the security enclave, because this secure enclave will not give you the value, will give you a pointer of this. So it's it is something that you have. I want to open your mind, because think about this: Android and iOS they don't trust. Neither of them don't trust about how they use the operative system, because they put a completely different operative system because they think the operative system could be hacked or could be injected with malware. So they prefer to create something isolate to read or to storage sensitive information. So if they don't trust, why do you trust on the sandbox? This is something that I want to open your mind. So we are close to the end. The compilation, protection, and static analysis in mobile application. Okay. In this point, we have to keep in mind on Android, we have shrink, obfuscate, and optimize your apps because, well, understanding how an Android app is compiled, you have to think like a Java file will be compiled in a class file. This class file will be compiled in a bytecode that the Java virtual machine will be interpreted. So that's true. So again, this is between the Java compiled into these class files, and these class files are are compiled into this DEX compiler. The obfuscator will try to replace your number of classes, your number of properties, your properties and your classes and methods will be replaced with letters A, B. That's why when you open Google and you inspect the web page, you see like A class, B method, things like that, because the code is obfuscated. It's true, it's not really easy to obfuscate the apps. There are tools that you can use. Also, if you hard code passwords or APIs inside of your apps, it is easy to get them because, well, it will take more or less time, but they will be hard-coded inside of your app. So that's why we have to avoid this. But there are tools which can recreate Java files from APKs, and you have to keep this in mind if you hard code sensitive data or keys. Okay. This is what I am saying. You can read how they are decompiling. There are multiple apps that they can do this, but they cannot redone the obfuscate, because when you obfuscate your apps, the obfuscator create metadata file, and with this metadata file, it is true you can de-obfuscate the app, but without it, it is not really easy to do this. Um, but again, you can recreate your app. So you can read the Java files looking for the API key if you know that they are embedded or hard coded. And well, um, okay, what's going on? If for last point, responsibilities. Um, the point here is a vulnerability is not much different as another bug or another issue that your app has. Because when we are developing new functionalities, you see like your app is not working as expected, or the bottom is not triggering the correct flow, and these kind of issues has to be managed similarly. But if you are developing a framework, or if you are developing a tool used by no uh, um, if you are creating an end user apps, and your end user app now is for TFF, all right, it's great for us. But if you detect from your servers that you had non-authorized access, or you detect vulnerabilities, exploited vulnerabilities, well, your users must know that that information were exposed, because again, we will be broken in the GDPR, the organism behind of the security of the information in a digital way, that we have to compliance if we want to deliver apps in the European Union. That's all. Um, I hope you enjoy as much as me. Um, Andrew?
Yes.
Um,
You don't see me, but I am here.
all right.
Okay, we have
Um,
a few questions. Let's hope contributors and other people make other questions, but we have two questions. What first is, while HTTPS is more secure than HTTP, does it make a difference to use the default port of 443 for HTTPS instead of port 80 when hosting a web server locally?
when you are developing your apps, you don't have to be aware if you are using HTTP or HTTPS, because you are running it in a local way, and your messages between you and your app will not be out of your laptop or your machine. So you don't have to be worried about this. Your concerns start when you are accessing in out of your local network, or inside of your network if you are in an hotel, for example, because maybe you are not understanding that you are doing HTTP requests inside of a network that somebody could be monitoring, for example.
This was a question from Takhat Kumar. Thank you. And then Shivan asks Kumar, why do some websites still use HTTP instead of HTTPS?
What? Sorry, again? What?
Why it still is something really easy. Why still there are websites that do not have secure HTTP? HTTP.
Actually, this is not a really big issue, because only I'm seeing HTTP apps in a development environments. If you actually, the web browsers don't allow HTTP. Also, they let you the final decision if you want to. Though I don't have, like I want to trust, so go in. Maybe the browsers could be more restrictive, but actually,
I
you
think
cannot
there are
access.
still some websites. I don't want to say plenty of, but I find one every day at least. Then the
Do
browser
do
says,
you
you
know
are
what?
going to use non-secure connection. Are you sure? No?
Exactly, and also with self-signed certificates, because sometimes you have a HTTPS connection, but the website decide to use self-signed certificates. And don't forget, when we were talking some slides before, uh, don't forget, this is a self-signed certificate. You are saying that you are, who can trust you if you are saying I am a good guy? Who trusts you?
We have at least at this moment one listener, Spanish, I think, Jose Maria Riesco, that says covering multiple issues about security in an easy way for not advanced developers like me. Congratulations, thank you very much. So thank you, Victor. And for Jose Maria, I will say that what was the thing about yo me lo como, yo me lo guiso, yo me lo como. In Spanish.
The point is, this is because we can see, right, when we are accessing in a insecure web, we see this in our browsers. That's right. But the point is web mobile development, because when we are creating mobile apps, we connect to different endpoints, and the users cannot see if the URL is secure or insecure, or the certificates are or not secure. So that's our responsibility creating apps, because actually inside of our code there is a way to say to the browsers, don't look that, like disable these security checks. And it's completely a bad idea, because we put our users in this tricky situation, and they don't know it because they cannot.
Yeah, totally understand. Mohit says, what should be the proper way of catching the password for Liquid Galaxy? Should it be stored by encoding it in local storage, or should the user be asked every time to enter LGPIs or something better?
All right, the point. If you, let's see, okay, all right. All right, if we are creating, so the points here, if we are creating web apps, we cannot use, as we showed before, sensitive information in the URL. We have to use headers. If you want to store sensitive information, you cannot use sorry, I am looking the right image. We cannot use this key served preference or key values files, because this is readable. Is text plain. You can read it on Android and iOS both. So you have to use other better places like keychain. Keychain is our
sorry.
Keychain is the best place to insert a password. But if you are working in a bank company, or this is not sensitive information, this is like the token to access to your account bank, for example, keychain could be improved.
No, I was gonna say specifically for our project that so the contributors sometimes, the new contributors do not see the whole point. I can take out your presentation, but let's remember how Liquid Galaxy RAID works. We are in a closed environment. Victor said that at some point. We are in a closed environment. So when the user puts his password to access the Liquid Galaxy, this is only for settings usually, and also sometimes for external APIs. Remember, we are using external APIs for accessing something like whatever kind of API or artificial intelligence API. So this can be a more sensitive information, but the information about the username and the passwords for accessing the settings on the Liquid Galaxy is something that it only can be catch in a man in the middle in the network that you are here, just catching the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is always secure. Of course, it can be broken, but it's a very hard job. So
the environment is harder or more secure than other environments.
So right? I will say that we don't have too much this problem unless we're talking about the API case, because you don't want another person to get your API case and then use it in their own application and get your bank totally suck your money.
And don't forget this, because if some of you upload the API key to the repository for maps, API key, or whatever, don't forget, doing a commit just to remove that line will not resolve the issue, because in the history of the commits, the API will be stored again. You have to do a rollback of those commits.
Yeah. But the perfect situation is never do that. Remember, every year we said that never store APK clear. You have to use other techniques we have. Let's go for the questions to not stay for more longer than an hour. We are now 1 hour exactly. So another question is, how does HTTP or HTTPS get assigned to any website? That's it. How is it determined whether a website is HTTP or HTTPS?
Okay, for me, HTTPS must be mandatory for every public endpoint that you will use. That means if you are going to do an endpoint for users, must be using HTTPS. And HTTP can be used in your local environment just to run your apps and your in a debug way, because the requests will not be out of your laptop.
I think that the question from Agnidra is different. Maybe Agnidra will tell us. I think he says something like how a website is configured to be HTTP or HTTPS. Well, this is a matter of configuration.
Okay.
This is a matter of configuration. You just go to your website, your web.
Exactly. It is depends of where you locate your apps, the configuration. If you use, this is a hosting configuration.
Well, you have a web server, whatever web server is. So in the configuration of the web server, you can say HTTP pages or HTTPS. Then if you use HTTPS, the server will add a layer of security with the different keys to make the communications. So so I think you will say it's a simple matter of the person that runs the website.
Yes.
Not the website, but the web server.
Exactly. And sometimes you can redirect the HTTP traffic to the HTTPS traffic.
Yeah, that's right. But it's a matter of if the owner of the website server wants to be the communications in. It's not a matter of the code you do inside the web page. The web page, it's only a matter of the transportation. So another nice question for you, Victor, from Tad Hagat is, he appreciates, another contributor saying the same, your use of jokes, of the memes in your presentation.
I told it. I was adding memes a meme slide each three slides.
Okay, so Agnidra, exactly. He meant that how it is the site. The website, so it's designed by the owner of the web server, not the website. A website is something that isn't a web server. The web server is an application that can have hundreds of thousands, 1, 2, or hundreds of thousands websites. So it's a matter of if the owner of the web server says this communication with this web server has to go in HTTPS, makes a click, and it has to be with HTTPS. If not, it's not HTTPS. Is that another question? And maybe this is last one. Are Flutter apps vulnerable to reverse engineering? I've come across this issue in Kotlin, but I haven't explored it much in Flutter. Could you shed some light on this?
Yes. Don't forget, Flutter apps is not much different as native apps, because actually they have inside native folders. So don't forget, when we are compiling our apps, we are compiling and we are creating Android apps, iOS apps. So it is they use regular configurations. So that means they use serifs. They use the same. They use the same configuration that they were that we were talking in this slide. So that means we have obfuscator, we have strings. For those to be presented on Android are 8. This is the tool that is used for this concerning. So don't think like Flutter will be different like native platforms are.
Okay.
That's all.
So we will wait 10 seconds for any other question. And we will stop the streaming. We've been something like 1 hour and 5 minutes. That's enough for streaming today. Here is night. We are 7 p.m., but it's night. And in India, in other places, it will be also deeper night. So let's wait for a second. And then we are going to close the streaming. So that's it. So thank you, contributors, and other person that have been attended the streaming, and thank you, Mentor Victor, for your collaboration, and contributors have appreciated a lot both your humor and also your technical skills. So thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye, guys.
You're welcome. Bye.